Hi there, this is Linda, and in this video I'm going to be putting together another Project Life spread for 2022. This is the week of October 10th through 16th. So I have my sticky note here with my collection of stories as usual, and then I printed out my photos, and I have a few things that I've pulled over. I have this card from my friend. So this was my birthday week, and she sent this confetti-gram. And when you open it, the confetti goes everywhere. And I'm trying to think about a way to turn this into a shaker pocket to fit inside one of these 4x6 spots. I also pulled over these numbers from my stash. I recently organized my loose embellishments. And if you missed that, I will link that video up in the corner. But in that video, I came across a lot of loose embellishments that have been piling up. And one of them was this number set, and I thought, you know, that'd be a good way to document my age for my birthday. So this spread's gonna be a little bit different. So I didn't really have in mind any kits that I wanted to work with for this week. None of the current story kit themes that I have out really made sense for what I had going on this week. It was a very fall week, but I didn't really want to do the story by the month kit or the Studio Calico kit because I'm using them in other weeks. And I decided that I really had just like a ton of photos. So I'm going to do something a little bit different and just do photos for the entire spread, or pretty much the entire spread. And I'm going to not journal, which is not normal for me, but my thought was I can tell the story of this week through photos. So I have here, you can see a very short list of stories. And this was actually kind of a rough week for me, but I did also have a lot of really nice photos because I spent a lot of time outside. October in New York is extremely beautiful. So I have a lot here. I also went on the internet and found some posters for a movie I watched, a TV show I was watching. I grabbed a photo from my daughter that she sent. And I really found just like all the stories of the week through photos. I think there were a couple very small things that are on my note here that aren't noted here, but I think that using the photos to tell the story is going to be a fun switch up from what I normally do. So what I'm going to do first is go ahead and put you on fast forward and cut all of these out and make my shaker pocket. And then I think I will come back on and talk you through the process. I'm not entirely sure yet, you know, what I'm gonna do as far as embellishing and my title and everything, but I will talk you through that as I lay out my photos and start putting things together. But I do wanna put you on fast forward to crop all of these out and make my shaker pocket because that is going to be a slower process. how my shaker pocket turned out. Basically what I did was I cropped the card down so it's small enough to fit inside the pocket very comfortably. And then I took an extra page protector that had had a 4x6 pocket, not fully intact, but it had one side intact, which is right here. And it had two sides. It had one that was with the like crimping that they use, and then the bottom was just folded over because that's what the bottom page protector is. And then I cropped it down to be smaller than 4x6 so that it would fit inside another pocket. I added my card in there, threw all of my confetti in, and then stitched these two sides. You can see there's some puckering, and that's because these things are so thick. So you needed a lot of extra room. But I think it came out pretty cool. I'm gonna try it in the pocket here. See, I think that looks great. Some of these threads are a little bit long. Where did I leave my scissors? So I cut off most of the threads. You can tie them. Again, you can stitch back and forth to like reinforce it. I didn't do any of that this time. I think it'll be fine because it's gonna live in a pocket. But you could if you wanted it to be extra reinforced. And if I had this like outside the page protector, then I would have done something to reinforce it a bit more. Sometimes I also fold them over on the back and then tape them down, which I could have done. The back side of this is just plain, and there will be something on the back from the other week. So I'm going to go ahead and start laying everything out on my page here and kind of figure out how I want this to be arranged. So I printed out this photo with the thought that this could be my title card, and I'm going to stamp on there. So like I said, this week was the week of my birthday, and it was kind of a rough birthday for me, but I turned 36. So I have some photos here. I'm trying to kind of dig through this whole stack and see kind of what do I have what photo am I looking for? So this photo right here. So I took this photo on my birthday. I thought this was super fun because these leaves, I don't know, I just love the way that they looked. You can see my purse, you can see my boots, I'm outdoors. It's just very pretty. But it has this empty space here, and I thought I could use that to put this big 36 for my birthday. And I might add, you know, something else on there, but that's kind of my thought, is that's going to be right there for my birthday. I also had this one of me going to get pumpkins, but I don't know that I want two photos together. So I'm thinking I'm going to put that one here, maybe put this one, because I did go get the pumpkins on my birthday. I'm kind of trying to like, because I have photos in every pocket, I'm very cognizant that it's going to look super dark and busy. So I'm trying to break it up as much as possible and put photos from different things near each other so that it stays interesting. So I do have a lot more 3x4 photos than 4x6 photos because my plan is to put some of the 3x4s in 4x6 pockets just because I had so many photos this week. So I have to keep that in mind when I'm laying out my photos. I do think I want that one there. For whatever reason, I always tend to put my favorite 4x6 photo in this pocket, and that photo is just like magical to me. This one also, but I feel like this one could have stood to be blown up really big, but that's where it is right now. So let's see, these ones are all 3x4s, and here I have two more 4x6s. So I kind of want to space these like this. Well, I don't want those two. I don't want all these tree ones next to each other. So I'm going to put this one here and this one here so that it's not just like all 3x4s. And then this one, I printed it. I think I'm just going to put it on top of this photo because it was just like a thing that was posted this week on my daughter's like cross country page. She went to homecoming, the dance. So this is her photo that she shared with me from homecoming. And so I think I might add, you know, like just letters on there to say like, oh, this was homecoming. Here's this, and then Happy Death Day. I watched this on my birthday. So I'm thinking, even though it says Friday the 13th of October, I think that's when it originally aired or came out. So I think I'm just going to put it like that. I also have been watching this zombie show called All of Us Are Dead, which is super awesome. So I think I'm going to put that one maybe here. I feel like these ones, the screenshot ones kind of break it up a little bit because they look different than other photos. And then I like it better next to that one. And then my sushi meal and the Handmaid's Tale. So I originally saved more screenshots for this week. One of them was my book, but my book is pictured here, so we don't need to include it again. And the other one was the Handmaid's Tale, which is another show I'm currently watching, the new season as it comes out. So I had it here, and so I decided to remove the screenshot and include this instead, because this tells me the Handmaid's Tale, but it also documents my sushi meal. And because I didn't have so many things this week, or because I had too many things this week, I wanted that extra pocket. So you can see I have filled every single pocket with a photo minus this one. So I think the only thing I don't like is this next to that, because it's like happy and happy. So I like it like this, but then I don't like these two together. So I'm thinking, let's see. No, I didn't like those together. This is kind of like the shifting, right? Or I'm just like shifting everything around until I like the way it looks. So I think that this is the layout I'm gonna go with. At least this is where I am right now. So I want to add a little bit of text on here. I'm going to stamp my dates. And then I think I'm going to add something that says homecoming right there. We had senior portraits done. But so this week I kind of told the story through photos instead, right? So I know it's my birthday because I know the dates of the week are going to be up here. And, you know, I know when my own birthday is. I have this happy birthday card here from my friend Teresa. I don't have to journal that she sent me flowers. I've got the pictures. I have, you know, my age. I have what I was reading and watching, so I don't need to document that. I know that we went to get pumpkins this week because I have these photos. I can tell we did my daughter's senior portraits because of this photo. I went for a hike. I have some photos from that. My daughter at homecoming, I got myself my sushi dinner. And my December daily order arrived. And those were pretty much all the stories. So if you look here, let me just see. I'm just gonna kind of talk you guys through this. So it was my birthday, which was also Columbus Day, and we had the day off. I don't know that you can fully tell that from these pictures, but you know, I don't know if that's super important. We got the pumpkins. I watched Happy Death Day. I did some crafting. I don't need to document that. I pretty much craft every week. I had a really, really rough day on Wednesday. I don't really want to document that, and I think that the lack of photos itself kind of documents that. I finished reading this book. I watched Handmaid's Tale. I had sushi. I had a full, like, kind of relaxing day, which I don't really need to document that. In journaling, I think that that is okay on its own, and I kind of binge watched a bit of All of Us Are Dead, which is there. My December daily order came. My daughter got her SAT score back, which I'm not going to include. And I started an alternate work schedule, which I'm not going to include this week. I think I'm going to include it next week because it really did kind of take effect starting the next week. My daughter went to homecoming. I hiked up Buck Mountain. She had a sleepover, which I can assume from the fact that she went to homecoming. I prepared my apple trees for winter, which I didn't get that photo in here. I did have a photo of that, and I had to cut it out because I had too many photos. But I decided to cut that one out instead of any of the other ones because I do take photos of my apple trees pretty regularly. And I don't know, I felt like the ones, once I had narrowed down on where I was, I kind of wanted to include everything else that were kind of bigger events or photos that told more of a story. So this is where I am. Let's see, I'm going to find a stamp now to do this. I'm going to adhere this down and come up with a way to write homecoming on there. And I think I want to also maybe write Buck Mountain on here and some stats for, you know, steps or distance and elevation for this hike, because I think that that is kind of an interesting thing to include. And then maybe I will add some like word phrase strips or something. So I'm going to go over and dig through my supplies and come back once I have everything I think I want to use and show you where I am. Okay, I'm back. So what I have is I picked out these stamp sets that were from the Kelly Perky shop. And I'm going to stamp out October up here and the dates 10 through 16 with the numbers on that one. I pulled over these alphas from Kelly Perky, and I'm gonna write HOCO for homecoming and Buck Mountain for the hike that I did right there. I pulled over these Color Theory labels from Studio Calico, and I'm gonna put one here under where I write Buck Mountain to write the distance and elevation of that hike. Then I pulled over some word phrase strips, and these I got, this one was from the October Stories by the Month kit from this year. This is from the October Stories by the Month from 2020, and this is from a September kit from Paper Person. And that way I have a bunch of different like October and fall themed ones. I also pulled over this one from Tim Holtz that I've had for a really long time. And they're these word phrase strips. They have them in white and black. And they are seasonal. So they have all the holidays throughout the year, including birthday ones. So I'm going to kind of look and see if there is a birthday one left. It kind of looks like maybe I've used all the birthday ones, but I'm gonna try to see if I can find something in there to kind of document my birthday. If not, I might just leave it with the 36, or I don't know. We'll see. And then I also grabbed these chipboard heart stickers from Felicity Jane. And I think I might add some of those to clusters with word phrase strips on a couple of the photos. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put you guys on fast forward and get all of this embellishing done, get the ones that are putting in the 4x6 pockets adhered together, adhere this down, and just get this spread put together.
Okay, so it was a little weird not doing journaling or having journaling cards or anything. It was a much quicker process though. I do actually like how this one came out, but I'm not sure that I would do this same style again that often, probably at some point. So the first thing I did was tape together those 3x4 cards that are going to be in 4x6 pockets so they don't shift around. And then I pulled over this label to write out my stats for my hike. I wanted to write out the distance and the elevation, and I quickly realized it wasn't going to fit on that label. So I pulled over a different label from my stash where I could stack the two items on top of each other. Now I'm pulling over these alphas from Kelly Perky. I stocked up on these before she closed her shop, and I still have a ton left. And they're one of my favorite go-to alphas for writing out titles or other labels on these types of cards. So I wrote HOCO for homecoming because that's what the kids call it, and it was just quicker and easier, and added a little heart with it. This photo down here in the bottom right was another one from my hike, and I just added on a feature from my daughter's school's. She's in cross country, and the cross country team has an Instagram account, and they're posting these senior spotlights, and hers was posted this week, and I wanted to include it. But because I had so many photos, I just decided to use one of my photos as a background. I originally wanted to write out Buck Mountain, which was where my hike was on this card, but because of where I put that label, I didn't really think it through, and it was too short to write out Buck Mountain. So originally then I was like, okay, I'll just write Buck, and that seemed weird. So I ended up writing MTN, and I think it worked out. I don't love how it goes off the edge when the label is shorter, but I ended up making it work and I added a heart chipboard on there. I added the 36 onto that one card, and then I'm now moving on to do my title card. So my thought with the title card was to stamp October 10th through 16th, and I decided to use my Misty stamping tool because I wasn't sure if it would stamp super clear, and that way you can stamp multiple times. But for whatever reason, I struggle with this Misty tool. Every time when I try to pull the stamp back up, whatever I'm stamping on moves because the stamp sticks to it. And I don't know if there's something I'm doing wrong, if it's the photo paper I'm using, which is the Luster photo paper that I absolutely love the way it looks, or the stamps I'm using, but it just sticks. And I have a hard time stamping again in the same spot because the photo will shift, and so the Misty isn't really doing its job. I actually had so much trouble that when I went to stamp the 6 here. The 6 had never been used before, and I think that made it super sticky. You see that the photo stuck to it, and it actually tore part of the photo when I tried to pull it up. So I just went ahead and stamped it anyway, right on top of where it was torn, and it mostly covered it, so I thought it was fine, but it took the blue ink off of the photo. I don't love how this card came out. The numbers are so narrow. I wish I had put them closer together. My original plan was to put one of those chipboard hearts in between, but you can see that gap is so wide that I didn't like that. So I went in my stash and I found this chipboard leaf and used that instead to connect the two numbers. And I think that it works and makes it look intentional that there's that huge gap, but I'm still not thrilled with it. I just didn't want to reprint and start over. Now I moved on to the word phrase strips. So I decided to put one on my birthday one there. The Tim Holtz ones used to have ones that said like happy birthday and stuff, but I used all those. So I found one that said you don't look a day older, which I think was one of the last birthday ones that was there. And then I added a Hello October word phrase strip. Now I'm just moving to a few of the different photos and adding collections of 3 word phrase strips from these sets. There's a lot of fall ones, October ones, and I'm just looking through each of the sets to try to find some words that fit, and alternating a white backed one with a black backed one because I like that contrast of the different colors. I don't like the 2 white ones next to each other. I could have pulled over something from my stash that was a different color, but I felt like the black and white were good neutrals because this spread is so colorful because of all of the photos. So one thing that I did struggle with in the spread is that I typically try to have a lot of white space that I get from a lot of my journaling cards, and I will select journaling cards that have a lot of white to not make the spread so dark, and I didn't have the opportunity to do that here. But I'm still very happy with how it came out. I didn't add that much embellishment because of the white space issue, but I do think that this was a fun mix-up from what I tend to do. And I hope that you also enjoyed it. Please let me know below down in the comments if you liked the way that the spread came out or if this was just not really for you. Thank you so much for being here. Bye.